Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Mirza and together with four other group members, Ainin, Dania, Aiza and Daniel. We are from group 7. For this assignment, our group has choose two company such as Chin Wheel Holding Berhad and Capital A Berhad.
My name is Ainin Sophia. My nomenclature is 309557. Now I will present about background of Chin Wheel Holding Berhad in business activity. So Chin Wheel Holding Berhad is an investment company incorporated in 1995 with its operating starting earlier in 1989. So the company is headquartered in Butterworth, Penang and also known as one of the world's largest manufacturer of carbon steel fastener such as screw, bolt and nut. Through continuous development and technological improvement, Chin Wheel has built a strong global reputation for producing high-quality and reliable fastener. Besides its facility in Malaysia, the company also operates manufacturing plant in Vietnam to meet the growing demand from industries such as construction, furniture, power transmission tower, and other industrial applications. So Chin Wheel supply its product not only to be local market but also export to Southeast Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. So the company has also earned a significant ISO certification, which is reflecting their commitment to quality standard for environmental responsibility. So overall, Chin Wheel vision is to become a leading global production of high quality fastener and prioritizing customer satisfaction while creating long-term value for its employee, business partner and shareholders. The main business activity of Chin Wheel Holding Berhad. So Chin Wheel main business is manufacturing and supply carbon steel fastener and wire product. Their fastener product includes screw, bolts, nut, and threaded rod, while their wire product include galvanized wire, grill mesh, bright wire, and hand-drawn wire. So these products are essential in many industries such as construction, furniture manufacturing, engineering, and infrastructure projects. So Chin Wheel supply this product for both local and international market, and their facility in Malaysia and Vietnam help them maintain a strong global distribution network. Now let's take a look at analysis financial ratio of Chin Wheel Holding Berhad. Equity ratio, we have a current ratio which is formula is current asset divided by current liability. So the current ratio for Chin Wheel is 8.38. This means Chin Wheel has 8.38 in current asset for every RM1 of short-term debt. So this shows this company can easily pay its short-term obligation. However, ratio this high may also indicate that Chin Wheel has too much inventory or cash that is not being used efficiently to generate profits. So next, for liquidity ratio, we also have a quick ratios. So formula for quick ratio is quick asset divided by current liabilities. So the quick ratio for Chin Wheel is 4.01. Ratio exclude inventory and it shows that Chin Wheel has 4.01 in liquid asset for every RM1 of short-term liability. When Chin Wheel without relying on inventory, the company is still able to comfortably pay its short-term debt. Overall, this indicates Chin Wheel has strong short-term financial stability.
My name is Daniel. So for the activity ratio, first we have total asset turnover, net sales divided by average total assets. So for the calculation, net sales is 343,247,551 divided by average total asset 753,204,155 plus 741,093,129 divided by 2, and total asset turnover we get 0.46. Chin Wheel Holding Berhad Company total asset turnover of 0.46 indicate that the company generates only 46 cents in sales for every ringgit of assets. This shows that the company have low efficiency in using its asset to produce revenue. Second, we have account receivable turnover, which is net sales divided by average trade receivable. So the calculation is 343,247,151 divided by average trade receivable, and we get 7.15. Account receivable turnover 7.15. Chin Wheel Holding Berhad Company account receivable turnover of 7.15 indicate that the company is able to collect its credit sales about 7.15 times a year. This shows that its collection process is fast. Customer take a short amount of time to pay their outstanding amounts. Next is profitability ratio. First, profit margin on sales. This is net income divided by net sales. So for the net income, 8,596,540 divided by 343,240,551, and you get 50%. Profit margin of 2.50% indicate that the company is earning profit of 0.025 for every RM1 of sales. This is considered quite low profit margin for a company. And last one, we have return on common shareholder equity, which is net income minus preferred dividend, divide average common shareholder equity. So 8,596,540,000 minus 0 because there's no preferred dividend. Divide the average common equity and we get 1.29%. Chinwell Holding Berhad Company return on common shareholder equity show that for every 1 ringgit of equity invested by the shareholder, the company is earning profit of 0.01 ringgit. This indicates that the company is having a poor financial performance.
For leverage ratio, we have debt to asset ratio and debt to equity ratio. So, debt to asset ratio is formula is liabilities divided by total assets. Debt to asset ratio for Chinwell is 0.11 or 11%. This means that only 11% of the company assets are financed by debt, while the remaining 89% are financed by equity. This low ratio shows that the company has low financial risk and is not heavily dependent on debt. Chinwell has a strong financial position and still has the capacity to raise debt in the future if needed.
My name is Mama Izam and with the metric number of 314103. Today, I'm going to talk about Capital A Berhad background. Capital A Berhad, formerly known as Asia Group Berhad, is a Malaysian investment holding company that has grown far beyond its origin as a low-cost airline. The company rebranded into Capital A in 2022 to reflect its expansion into travel, digital, and lifestyle business. Today, Capital A oversees several key subsidiaries, including the AirAsia Airline, the AirAsia Super App, Teleport for Logistics, BigPay for digital financial service, and Asia Digital Engineering for aircraft maintenance. Headquartered in Kuala Lumpur and listed on Bursa Malaysia, Capital A aims to build an integrated technology-driven ecosystem that provides affordable and accessible service across ASEAN region. The company continues to balance both aviation and non-aviation operation as part of its long-term growth strategy. Capital A Berhad main business activity is to function as an investment holding company that manages both aviation and non-aviation business. While AirAsia Airline remain at the core of its operation, the company has expanded into several other key areas. These include the AirAsia Super App for digital travel and lifestyle service, Teleport for logistics and cargo, BigPay for digital financial solution, and Asia Digital Engineering for aircraft maintenance and engineering. Through this business, Capital A aims to build a connected travel and lifestyle ecosystem that is driven by technology, innovation, and affordability for users across ASEAN. Moving to our financial analysis, we will start with liquidity, beginning with the current ratio. This ratio measures a company's ability to pay its short-term obligation with its short-term asset. As of the data period, Capital A current asset stood at approximately 1.05 billion ringgit, while its current liability were higher, at about 1.27 billion ringgit. This gives us a current ratio of 0.82. In practical terms, this means the company asset only 0.82 cent in current asset for every 1 ringgit it owes in the short term. A ratio below 1.0, as we see here, indicate that the company has more current liabilities than the current asset. This is a sign of higher financial risk and raise immediate concern about its liquidity position. To get more conservative view of liquidity, we look at the quick ratio. This metric excludes inventory from current asset, as inventory is not always easily liquidated. After subtracting inventory of about 151 million ringgit, the quick asset amount to roughly 894 million ringgit. When measured against the same current liability of 1.27 billion, the quick ratio comes out to 0.70. This tells us that for every 1 ringgit of short-term debt, the company has only 70 cents in highly liquid asset. This further confirms the weak short-term liquidity position we identify with the current ratio.
Activity ratio, total asset turnover, net sale divide average total asset, beginning total asset plus ending total asset divide 2. 37,126,000 divide 31,855,868,000 plus 307,36,147,000 divide 2 equal 0.02. Berhad total asset turnover of 0.03 indicate that the company generate only RM0.03 in sale for every 1 ringgit of assets. This shows that the company is using its asset very efficiently to produce revenue. This asset turnover is extremely low. It suggests that the company is not fully utilizing its asset to drive sale. Account receivable turnover. Net sale divide average trade receivable. Beginning account receivable plus ending account receivable divide 2. 837 126,000 divide 402 2000 plus 391,300 divide 2. 1.40. Account receivable turnover 1.40. Capital overhead account receivable turnover of 1.40 indicates that the company collect only 1.4 times of its credit sale per year, showing a slow and inefficient collection process. This suggests that the company take a long time to convert receivable into cash, face delay in customer payment which may
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurulin Shafika, and for today, I am going to talk about the profitability ratios. Firstly, profit margins on sales. So if you take a look at the formula given, to count the profit margins on sales is by the net income divided by the net sales. So if you take a look at the income statement of Capital A Berhad, our net income is 2,151,441,000 ringgit, which is need to be divided by the net sales, which is 837,126,000 ringgit. So after we divide it and times by 100, we will get the profit margins on sales is 257%. Capital A Berhad profit margins of 257% indicates that the company is earning profit of 2 ringgit and 57 cents for every 1 ringgit of sales. So this high profit of margin suggests that the company is recorded an exceptionally high profit, which is possibly due because of the disposal of assets and investment income. So not just that, the high profit of margin on sales also influenced by the non-operating income as well. Next, we are going to talk about the return on common shareholders' equity. So the formula for the return on common shareholders' equity is by net income minus preferred dividends divided by the average common shareholders of equity. So our net income, which is 2,151,441,000, need to be divided by the negative 7,703,633,000, which is plus with the negative 10,040,967,000 ringgit. So after we divide it and times by 100, we will get our return on common shareholders' equity is negative 12.14%. So Capital A Berhad return on common shareholders shows that for every 1 ringgit invested by the shareholders, the company is losing about 12 cents. The negative return on equity usually implies because of the company's net income that is negative after accounting for preferred dividends. Meanwhile, the shareholders also experiencing a decline in their investment value.
Now let's examine the company leverage, starting with the debt to asset ratio. This shows the proportion of a company asset that are financed by debt. Here, we see total liabilities of 39.56 billion ringgit against total asset of 31.86 billion ringgit. This results in a ratio of 1.24 or 124%. This is a significant figure. It means that about 124% of the company asset are financed by debt, which is only possible because shareholder equity is negative. This indicates an extremely heavy reliance on debt suggests the company would face significant difficulty in securing additional funding, as creditors would view it as very high risk borrower. At the debt to equity ratio, which directly compare the funding from creditors to the funding from shareholder. With total debt of 39.56 billion ringgit and shareholder equity at negative 7.7 billion ringgit, the calculation yield a ratio of 1. This is interpreted as the company having 1 ringgit of debt for every 1 ringgit of equity. However, it is crucial to understand the context here. A standard interpretation of 1-to-1 ratio suggesting a moderate leverage and a stable capital structure does not apply when the equity is deeply negative. In reality, a negative equity value, often called negative net worth or shareholder deficit, is a severe indicator of financial distress. It means the company accumulated loss and liability have completely eroded to its capital base. This situation is far more critical than a standard debt to equity ratio of 1 would imply.
The comparison for each ratios between the companies. First and foremost, we are going to talk about the liquidity analysis. Liquidity analysis indicates that Chingwell Holdings Berhad shows a very strong liquidity position compared to the capital A Berhad. This is say so because both ratios of the Chingwell Holdings Berhad shows a very high percentage, which indicates that the company to cover its debt because of the massive short-term capacity. Meanwhile, for the capital A Berhad, shows that the both ratios are below 10, which makes the company's current assets are insufficient to cover its current liabilities. So next, the activity ratios. Based on the activity ratios, it seems that Chingwell Holdings Berhad shows a very stronger performance compared to the capital A Berhad. So let's take a look at one example. Total assets turnover for Chingwell Holdings Berhad reports a ratio of 0.46, which indicates that the company to generate a reasonable level of sales. Meanwhile, for the capital A Berhad only shows 0.03 of ratios, which means that the assets are not being utilized effectively. Next, the profitability ratios. So according to the results of the return on common shareholders' equity, it is showing that the Chingwell Holdings Berhad is the better performing company than capital A Berhad, which is incurring losses that diminish shareholders' equity that is indicated by the negative return on common shareholders' equity. Lastly, leverage ratio. So this leverage analysis indicates that capital A Berhad is facing a higher financial risk compared to the Chingwell Holdings Berhad. So therefore, the Chingwell Holdings Berhad is more financially better as it has a lower leverage and lower financial risk.
Suggestion to improve performance. 1. Reduce expenses. Identify and cut accessory costs. Improve efficiency to avoid wasted in labour, energy and operation. 2. Improve account receivable collection. Standard collection processes to speed up customer payment. Monitor DSO and receivable turnover to track efficiency. 3. Reduce debt level. Lower borrowing to reduce interest expenses. Improve cash flow and decrease financial risk. Increase prices strategically. Adjust prices to match rising cost or product improvement. Communicate change rates clearly to avoid customer disappointment. 5. Control overhead costs. Monitor expenses such as utilities, rent, admin salary and maintenance. Ensure overhead spending does not reduce overall profit. Monitor cash flow closely. Track inflow and outflow to maintain healthy operation. Prevent cash shortages that may disrupt business activity.
In the conclusion, the analysis financial made on Chingwell Holdings Berhad and Capital A highlights the significant differences, liquidity, activity, profitability and leverage. Based on the results showing, Chingwell Holdings Berhad is a stronger and more stable financial condition compared to Capital A Berhad. It says so because Chingwell Holdings Berhad demonstrates an excellent liquidity, which indicating the company's strong ability and meet a short-term obligation. Meanwhile, for the company Capital A Berhad, it faces substantial financial challenges. Its liquidity ratios reflect a difficulty in covering short-term liabilities, while the activity ratios such as poor asset efficiency and slow receivable collection. Capital A also records an unusually high profit margin sales and a negative return on equity. Capital A also facing a high leverage ratio, which exposing the company to greater financial risk and reduced stability. This is the evidence that shows Chingwell Holdings Berhad is the better performing companies compared to the Capital A Berhad. I think that's all from me. Thank you.